Alright, so, the metric conversion that we're gonna have to do, so we're gonna be going from grams to milligrams, or milligrams to micrograms. We are going to use this conversion table to help us to get there. This is King Henry. Some of you may have met King Henry in the past, maybe in school. I think that they've used him throughout time. And I need you to memorize this, so go ahead. Oh,
chocolate
we
milk.
do know him. Okay.
I remember.
So I need for you guys on your index card to go ahead and write down the mnemonic that King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk.
Under our line?
Just across the top so you can memorize that mnemonic. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw a tick line, okay? On this tick line, we are going to actually have to add 2 because micrograms goes a lot smaller than where this is gonna be. So we're gonna add an addition to our tick line. So you're gonna draw a line and then go ahead and do your long piece in the center, 3 to the side. And then on this side, we want to go ahead and add an additional, we're gonna extend it. By 3, okay? So we should have 3 this way,
6.
and then we're gonna have a total of, yes, 6 this way. And what we're gonna end up having, and you can go ahead and do this, is our King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk at a decimal point, and then go ahead and put MCG. And that's gonna be our microgram. Within here, we're just putting those decimal point placements because when we're working with our medications, we're gonna really be in milligrams, micrograms, and grams, okay? So that MCG stands for micrograms. So we have our King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk, ... decimal point, MCG. It'll come back up. So in our tick line, that U, okay, that is our basic unit. And our basic units that we'll be working with, so meter for measurement and length, okay? Although with medication, we're not gonna use that. We're staying on the medication line here. So we would be using L, so our unit could be either liters or G for grams. Okay, so your basic unit, so if you want to, above the U, if you choose to, you can put an L there so you know that's your straight unit of liters, or the G there also for your straight unit of grams. We're not gonna be working with the measurement part of it. stand for, this K, H, D, U, C, and so forth, okay? Your K is going to be for kilo. H is hecto. D is deca. And then we have our basic unit that we're working in. And then we go deci, centi, and then we're gonna have milli. And then when we added our additional 3, that last one that we did was gonna be micro. Working medications, you're never going to be, never, on this side of things. We don't give kilograms of medication to people, okay? So this is working with larger amounts, larger weights, larger volume. Going down, the further you go down, the smaller the amount that you're working with. And when we give medications, you know, very seldom would we ever be giving somebody 15 mLs or, so it's gonna be small amounts that we're gonna be giving. Everybody good with that? And here they just did it both with the liters and the grams, and it means the same thing. All you're doing is adding a prefix to it. Okay, so you would have milliliters, milligrams, centiliters, centigrams, and then on our micro, we would have micro, and it's usually micrograms when we're talking micro. Okay, so you're just adding a prefix to that. So we would be looking at a problem, okay? And we have to find out the unit that's there. And on the device, our tick line, we're gonna be moving back and forth down that tick line. And you're gonna be going from what the doctor ordered to where we need to be, what we have available. All right, so let's look at this first one. So, we have 7.25 liters. Equals how many kiloliters. So what we want to do is, and the metric system is based off of a decimal system. So if there's a decimal that's in the number, that is actually where you're going to start with your movement of things, is at the decimal point. Let me ask you real quick though, if we had just a whole number, let's say 75, where is the decimal point located at? After the 5. That's what makes it a whole number, is that 75. So if you do not see a decimal point in it, you would place that decimal point here, and then we would be using that decimal point as our moving guide. Okay, so if it's a whole number. If it has the decimal point, that's where we start, is at that decimal point. So what you want to do is write 7.25 down, okay? And we are going to be going from liters, right, to kiloliters. So where is kilo? All the way down here, okay? But we started off at liters. So here, correct? All right. So what you would do is put your pencil down on where you're starting. You do not count that, that's just where you're laying it. You're only counting your jumps. So to get to kiloliters, we would go 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now we had 7.25, correct?
Yep.
So if we had 7.25, and now what you would do is put your pencil where the decimal point is. And how many did we jump? 3 to the left. So, this doesn't count, that's where you're putting it. We go 1, 2, 3, make your decimal point, and you're gonna fill in those hoops with zeros. And now, we would have 0.00725 kiloliters.
Algebra did this.
We're gonna, I'll go back through it, it'll show it again. All right, so it'll show us again. Okay, so that's what we did. We did our 3 jumps. One, 2, 3. Is that what we got? Yep. And of course, we always have to put that 0 on the front. Okay? All right, let's try this one. 45,000 grams. So the first thing is to recognize we have grams and we're trying to get to milligrams. So we would take and we would put our pencil down and we're going, grams is that main unit, okay? And we need to get to milligrams, so we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Now, where is the decimal point in 45,000?
Behind the last zero.
Behind the last 0. So we would have 45,000. Okay, and there's our decimal point. And we need to take our decimal point and go 3 spaces to the right. Okay, so we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, put that decimal point, fill in those spaces, and every 3 you go in is a comma. Okay, so now we have 45 million what?
Milligrams. Took all that medicine.
So we're moving things so we can get them in the same unit of what we have available to us. And there we see it again. And again. All right, let's take some time and solve the following problems. So we have 14,443 liters, and we're trying to figure out how many kiloliters that is. And please hold off on any answers, okay? Just work through these. let's take a look at number 1. So we have 14,443 liters to kiloliters. We'll take this by step. So where is our decimal point located?
Oh, at the end.
At the end, because it is a whole number. So it's gonna be located at the end. So I'll kind of come off to the side with this for you guys. So we have 14,443 liters, and we're trying to go to kiloliters, correct? All right. So where is our basic unit located at on our tick line?
You.
At the U. So from liters to kiloliters, then we would have done our 1, 2, 3 jumps, correct? All right. And then we already said that our decimal point was here. So we would go 1, 2, 3, and that's where our decimal point goes. And now we have 14.443 kiloliters. So the same way that you move your pencil is the same way you move your decimal point. The same way you go down the line is the same way you're moving down your decimal point. On the next one, we had 1.25 milligrams, and we're trying to get to micrograms. So on this one, where is milligrams located at? Right, milli. Okay, so that would be our milligrams. And to get to micrograms, so we would have to go to the right. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Here is 1.25, right? And we need to go 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Fill that in with your 0. And now we have 1,250 micrograms.
I thought you said they were millis.
We are going from milli, so hold on. We're going from milligram and we're moving it to microgram. You started off at the milligram, and now, so the doctor said to you, I want this patient to have 1.25 milligrams. And then you go and you look, and then you see in the cabinet that, oh wow, we only have micrograms. Well, how many, if 1.25 milligrams, well, what is that in micrograms? So all we're doing is going from what the doctor ordered to what we have available in micrograms. So then we would give that patient on that box, it would have said, or on that bottle, 1250, so 1,250 micrograms. So you're just moving it. You're going from what it was, so this is our milli, okay? This is micro, this is milligram, we have milliliters. Those are just prefixes that are put on because those are decimal place holders.
So on that one last decimal that you put, you don't add any zeros?
No, it's the end. It's just like if I said to you, I'm gonna give you $5. So I could say this, right? But can't I just say that? Isn't that that's the same thing? 5 and 5, that's $5, because if you want to write it technically, it would be the same thing. Okay, so you don't have to add, those are called trailing zeros. You don't have to add trailing zeros. It's just when there's a decimal point at the beginning of your number, you have to put that 0 there because of medication errors. Okay? Alright, then we have 35.4 liters. So you're always wanting to find out where your decimal point is located. If it's a whole number, it's at the end. Here, it gives it to us, so we know where that is. So we need to go from liters, so where is liters up there again? Right, because there's no prefix in it, it's just straight liters. Okay, so this is your main unit. Your unit is either gonna be, in this case with us working with medication, either in liters or in grams. That's just a gram, a liter, not a milliliter. That's where you start picking up your prefixes as you go down. So if we have 35.4 liters, so you start with liters, because that's what he's ordered. And we need to move it to milliliters. We're gonna jump. So liters to milliliters, 1, 2, 3. So then we have our 35.4, correct? And we need to move that decimal place 3, okay, to the right. So don't forget, like, this would be a decimal place holder, because that would make that number a whole 354. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, set your decimal point there, fill in your little hoops with zeros, and now we have 35,400 milliliters.
Right?
In all actuality, if we pulled this decimal point off, isn't that the same number?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. 16 grams to milligrams. So, Iris. So, just turn. This is a whole number. Where is your decimal point located at on 16? There is, technically, there is one. It was like what I showed you with the $5. So where would that decimal point be?
Behind the 6.
Good.
In front of
So
the 6.
you had it right the first time. So behind, because it's a whole number. They didn't give it to us, so this is a whole number. So it's gonna be back here, okay? We are going from grams, just straight grams. That's your unit. We're going from straight grams to milligrams, okay? And that jump is how many? It's 3. So from grams to milligrams, it's 1, 2, 3. And then our same thing would be here. So it's a whole number. That decimal point is always at the end. When you just see a number by itself, a 2, it's at the end. A 3, it's at the end. 700, it's at the end. Okay, so when you just see a whole number that doesn't have a decimal point, well, whole numbers don't have decimal points, they're always on the end. Okay, that's what makes them whole. So we went 3 to the right, correct?
Yes.
So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3,
Decimal point.
decimal point, fill these in,
0.
okay?
Oh, so now
So we have 16,000 what? Milligrams.
So how comes on the 35.00 you only put 2 zeros, but yet down on the bottom one you put 3?
Because we're going from liters on this one because the decimal point was already given to us. The decimal point wasn't here. Our decimal point was within the number. It was 35.4. Here it's 16. So we if it would have been 1.6, that would have been different. But it's here. You're looking at wherever your decimal point is and moving your decimal point. So don't compare it to other problems because the decimal point's not in the same place. So depending upon where your decimal point placement is gonna depend upon how much you move that. Okay?
And then nothing at the end of the point. Is that
Right,
where
it
it's
ends
from?
it. It makes it a whole number. You wanna go ahead and just, all right. Tell him I'll take care of that. putting your pencil down. It's not till you make your move, okay? So when you stick your pencil where your decimal, where it's gonna be, where you're starting, don't count that. Only count your jumps. So you're only counting the jumps on that. So just be careful with that part of it.